Hey Shackers, it's time for yet another episode of This Week in Switch 2. That's 2 episodes in 1 week, right?
Can't beat that
So
value.
Really, what a savings.
it's
Uh,
way better value than Game Pass.
oh my god. Luckily, this is not a show about Xbox, because I would have thoughts on that. But you know what? This is a show about Nintendo games, Nintendo's new platform, the Nintendo Switch 2. I'm your host, Asif Khan, CEO, Editor-in-Chief. EIEIO stands for Extremely Intelligent Extreme Intelligence Officer. As the government shuts down, we are at a huge deficit of intelligence, so extreme intelligence is even more valuable today. And as a privately held company, our valuation is going through the roof, according to me, the guy who owns the private company. So, whatever that means. I'm joined by my co-host, Donovan Erskine,
Hey, what's up?
news editor here at Shacknews. David is out there on assignment doing some interviews for an upcoming long read. And also we have two people joining us, which I'll introduce right now. We have senior editor Ozzy Mejia here.
Hello.
The reviewer of Hades 2, mind you. And we have our senior news editor, the namer, the person who coined the term, or named this show, This Week in Switch 2. I guess it's you're like the Miyamoto to Mario. Miyamoto is to Mario as TJ is to This Week in Switch 2. That's how I'm spinning it in my head canon. TJ Denzer, our senior news editor, back from Japan.
Still sleepy.
Yeah, I bet. I was telling you and Greg the other night, like, I think it's harder coming back from Japan on the jet lag front than it is going there, because you're like all excited when you're going there, right? But then when you're coming back, you're like, I'm back in America. We have no public transportation. The food stinks, and yeah, airports and delays and all. Like, I think when you landed, you didn't even have like a gate.
Yeah, they made us sit in the plane for about an hour and a half as they figured that out. It was nice to be back in a place where nothing works and everyone is incompetent. And or understaffed. It's not necessarily incompetent so much as understaffed in every place.
So we're recording this on October 1st, 2025. I'm going to try to upload it the same day. I have quite a busy day here, but I'm going to try to get this uploaded sometime tonight. This means, Donovan, there are 91 days left in the reign of Doug Bowser. That's right. I have found a way to create content out of Doug Bowser retiring. 91. Bowser, a Bowser event horizon, a Bowser countdown.
And as we get closer to the end, you're gonna have like the Majora's Mask thumbnails ready to go.
I don't know if you saw the last episode, Ozzy, but we were like, we need to put together some sort of highlight reel of Doug Bowser's tenure at Nintendo, and it's like, so far all I have is his one appearance in the Nintendo Direct and his 2 interviews with CNBC. If you can think of anything else, folks at home, let us know. I know he's tweeted a lot. Maybe we'll do like an episode where we break down our favorite Doug Bowser tweets, Donovan. Maybe that'll
he's got good tweets.
He has solid tweets. The man tweets.
I mean, so do we, but
no, I don't think so. I haven't seen you tweet in a long time.
Twitter sucks.
That's true, and I don't blame you. Every time I tweet, I have some asshole AI bot in my comments being like, oh, wow, what an amazing thing that this random person I'm tweeting at would enjoy to see. And they have 0 followers and 0 following, and they blue check mark somehow. And yeah, I hate it there. But I was there first. I'm not leaving. Anyway, speaking of being there first, TJ, you got hands-on with 2 Nintendo Switch 2 games before all of us. And I'm jealous, because I'm going to jump in this. You played Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment.
Sure did.
Wow.
Yes.
Tell the folks at home about this game and what you got to try out in Japan.
So for the Age of Imprisonment demo, they let us play a pretty much early mission in the game where Zelda has linked up with Rauru. If you know the story of Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda got launched into the deep past where she met up with the original king of Hyrule, Rauru, and his sister Minoru, and the rest of the champions that were fighting against Ganondorf.
Queen Sonia.
And so it was an early mission where they go down into the depths and begins searching for clues as to like how to stop Ganon. And during that, we got to play as Zelda herself, Rauru, and Minoru. Um, Zelda is freaking awesome. She uses the broken Master Sword as like a scepter to like cast spells, and they are all explosive. They are all like she uses her power of light through the sword, and it's so cool. Like the way that
Oh
she
my
fights.
god, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. Mainaru, she was like the foremost Zonai scientist in the game when the Age of Imprisonment was happening. So her combat style is heavily she just spawns like Zonai creations, like mishmashed Zonai creations, and sends them off at enemies. You can actually like her fast travel in the game, her sprint travel is her jumping on a spike wheeled cart and rolling over enemies.
Nice.
And then Raru, of course, he uses a lot of like he has the original sealing power and uses he kind of like manifests weapons as he needs them through his Ultra Hand abilities.
Yeah, he has the hand.
Mm-hmm. And each of them played just so very different from one another. Each of them handled like quite nicely, and in addition to that, like you find Zonai devices like the basic Zonai devices, and you can use them in combat in various ways, such as like the flamethrower, the little dragon flamethrower head. You can just like equip that and use it as a flamethrower on enemies to like clear out an area.
So when you say equip, because not everyone has Ultra Hand, right? That you're talking about. So when you equip, are you literally just like Zelda holding a flamethrower?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
and that was just one of like quite a few different basic Zonai items that
Sure.
can be used in combat.
I've seen the fan and the laser in the trailer, like they were using both of them at the same time. So I mean, like it seems like you could combo some of these things and make some death contraptions out of them.
Mm-hmm. And man, it played so damn well. You know, a lot of the complaints about Age of Calamity were that the frame rate just couldn't keep up with the game. Koei Tecmo makes a very fast-paced game when it comes to their Warriors games, and the Switch One, like, it was just limited by that. It was an inconsistent 30 frames per second in that game. 60 frames per second, stable here. Just perfect movement, perfect action. I didn't see any like cracks in the system as I was going through this demo.
And like Nintendo and Koei Tecmo work really well together with the assets that are provided. So it's like it looks like Tears of the Kingdom. Like it looks like the exact same art style, exact same character models, clothing, hair, like everything about it looks exactly like Tears. So that's exciting.
It really does feel like Koei Tecmo is using these like third party collaborations like it's been doing with Nintendo and a few other parties to like flesh out its systems and explore and experiment, because when they use stuff from the games and like meld their system around things like Zonai devices and like Zelda's power and all that stuff, it's just so fun to watch how they create new forms of combat in their games with that.
So, did you hear anything about that mysterious hero? Is there any hint? Did you get any details? I'm putting on my Detective Pikachu hat. Is there anything? What's the scoop on this mystery hero?
It's a mystery to everyone.
Damn it. Still? I am error. I'm still error. Okay. Well, that's I'm sure that's like something they're holding off for either like launch trailer or even a surprise in the game. But they showed that dude.
Yeah.
Very curious. That's exciting though. So Rauru with his Ultra Hand, you say he basically summons weapons, right? Does he have a badass sword? Like he needs to have a badass sword, right? Does he have a badass sword?
I didn't see like a straight up sword on him, but there is a point where like he just wields two spears in each hand and just swings blades of light at enemies.
Okay.
It's so very cool. That guy is Aura personified when he fights.
Yeah, like we we don't really get to see much of Rauru in combat in Tears of the Kingdom, right? We see him more as like the king of Hyrule, the leader, talking a lot. There's a lot of exposition, him talking with Zelda, and him even talking with Ganondorf at one point. Like there's a lot of talking. We don't really get to see Rauru do a whole lot until a very important part of the game, which I won't spoil for the people who still haven't beat Tears of the Kingdom. What are you doing? What are you doing? Go play Tears of the Kingdom before this game comes out, especially, right, TJ? Like, wouldn't that be a good thing to like know what happens in Tears before playing this?
Yes.
Or maybe it doesn't necessarily matter, but because this kind of takes place It takes place at the founding of the Kingdom of Hyrule, which is as part of Tears, but it's not like the driving part of Tears. So I don't think it's going to spoil anything, but you might care more about some of these characters if you played all of Tears of the Kingdom, I think, is what I'm getting at.
It fills in the gaps incredibly. It looks set to fill in the gaps incredibly well because this whole scenario is essentially an entire game based on the tier memories that you collected in Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
And you only got like snippets of that. You got to see like critical moments, but you didn't really see their outcomes or like much of the meat and potatoes of what happened. You got teasers of that whole thing.
So did you get to see any of the other champions like the Goron or like the Zora champions? Were they in this demo?
They made appearances, but they weren't playable for this one. We only got to play Minoru, Rauru, and Zelda this time.
Out of those three, what was your favorite? Or who was your favorite?
Rauru by far.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like, Rauru is so damn cool to begin with, and then to have him in action, like, that guy isn't even using his whole power because he doesn't until you've seen his forehead eye open.
Oh, yeah.
And so... yeah, so to like see him like actually go ham and in a fight is so fun and feels so good.
That's exciting. How long was the demo? It was like 20 minutes or something?
About 30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Yeah.
And you're playing it docked, right?
For that one we played docked, yes.
Okay. Curious. I think what we're seeing with these Switch 2 games, when they're running 60 FPS docked, it's usually 2K or 4K, right? And then when they go handheld, it's usually 1080p 60 FPS also. In some games, I think we're going to see them go down to 720p 60. But like, I'm interested to see how handheld performance will hold up with this game, because that really... Switch 2 performance is kind of all over the place right now, guys. Like, it's... some games, kind of ass. Other games, kind of awesome. And it's not consistent. And when you start listening to the devs, like I think the Final Fantasy developers were talking about it at TGS, because good news, Ozzy, you can play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth again on your Nintendo Switch 2.
But I've actually heard that like remake has been running well on Switch 2.
Yes. So like they were talking about it, like they got it running well. The only problem is the cartridges are too slow. They can't run it off a cartridge.
Like is this like a DLSS thing that like the performance is so inconsistent?
I think it's literally a storage issue. The system storage and those new SD EXH whatever the hell, those new SD cards.
You know what this is leading to? Is this is going to lead to like another hardware iteration?
Oh, 1,000,000,000%. Like
we're gonna get like a Super Nintendo Switch 2 at some point.
Or like a Switch 2 OLED, right? And it'll have increased specs, right? I do think like just a simple storage bump would be valuable. Like the internal storage going from, what is it, 256 right now? Like getting up to like 512. Donovan, you mentioned last episode you had to get an expansion SD card for your thing, but
I still need to get one, but I'm at that point where I'm out of storage.
I was just installing. I have Mario Galaxy 1+2, you guys. And
I threw out that warning sign from the very beginning when I looked at Split Fiction, and I'm like, this is like 70 gigs. Like, what are we doing here? Like, you're gonna fit 3 games on your Switch total?
I'm just juggling them. I'm just juggling games. I already uninstalled NBA 2K, Donovan. It's already been uninstalled.
Yeah. I just uninstalled Madden a few days ago.
Oh no! What will we ever do?
I think what reminded me of the first Switch cycle, where like you get a janky first version and then like you get the big old like refined version like 2 years down the road, is I went to MagicCon last week and I brought my Switch 2 with me for the first time, and I played it on the plane. I had like maybe an hour before like getting to my first layover, and I went from something like 75% to like 30. Like the battery life is atrocious on that thing.
It's ass. It is ass, and it varies depending on what game are you playing. You're playing Hades?
Hades.
Yeah. Hades is a gorgeous game. And it
Absolutely.
and it runs well. Yeah, we'll get into that here. TJ, is there anything that you need to mention about Hyrule Warriors before we move on? I'm very excited. Everything you're saying has me extremely excited for this.
Music was good too.
No shit.
I would have put that out there. The music was tasty.
No shit. A Zelda game has good music? No.
I just had to say it because Age of Calamity has one of my favorite soundtracks ever, and Age of Imprisonment is shaping up to be the same.
Tecmo knows what they're doing with this franchise. Like, when it comes to like messing around with their soundtrack and everything.
While you're at it, Doug Bowser, in these last 91 days, why don't you get the Age of Calamity soundtrack on Nintendo Music? What are you doing over there?
God, I would love it. I would love it.
Right? Like, and the first one. Let's get both the Hyrule Warriors soundtracks over there to hype up this one. You know, like, start synergizing, Doug. I know you know what? Here's just a complete segue, or a complete tangent. Doug Bowser used to work at EA. He must be sitting on a fuck ton of EA shares and has a money hat now. And he's like, you know what? I'm retiring, you know, like, see you later, guys. But in the meantime, Doug, these next 91 days, how about you release some awesome music on Nintendo Music before I start bothering Mrs. Pritchard about these things? Because I will. She's already been drafted into F-Zero Twitter. I don't even know if she has a Twitter account. We'll find out. You gotta think she has to, right? Reggie had one. Doug has a famous Twitter account, right? Probably one of the best Twitter accounts left on the platform. Of course the music's good, though. That's awesome to hear. And I still go back and listen to the Zelda concert, like that symphony orchestra from 2024. Like, I listen to that, like, at least once a month. So, yeah, that's not surprising, but awesome to hear. I did kind of pick up on some of that from your over-the-shoulder footage, but, you know, it's not as easy to hear at a show floor environment. But, yeah, check out TJ's gameplay that we uploaded to YouTube, and it's also on social media if you're too lazy to go to our YouTube channel. We are posting some of those things directly to Facebook and directly to Twitter for your viewing pleasure. This comes out in, November?
Let me pull that up.
I believe so. It's like the 20th, or right around there.
November 6th, 2025.
There you go.
I think the 20th is Air Riders, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Correct.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah. So, man, how are we supposed to play all these games? This is like one of the best years ever.
That's a problem we get to address over the next 2 months, 3 months. There's December games too.
Yeah, Metroid is coming, and Octopath Traveler 0 is coming. You know, so
gosh, yeah,
it's like how am I going to play all these video games?
We don't even know what they're shadow dropping at the Game Awards either.
Nothing. Jeff, nothing. Please, Jeff. We only have so many hours left in the year. It's the fourth quarter. This is one of the craziest fourth quarters I can remember in gaming. But also this year, we've had so many like 89 and above Metacritic games this year, and they're all excellent. Like they're different, they're fun. There's like something for everyone. There's different systems are having cool things to play on it. Like Ghost of Yotai's on the PlayStation. Yeah, it's coming out. Doom is out there. Like, don't forget about Doom, which is still not on Switch 2. And I
think I posted something on Blue Sky a few months ago, about a couple weeks ago, where I said anybody who basically says that this has been a bad year for games, like I posted a picture of the Hurt Syndicate grabbing Ricochet by the throat. Like that's how I feel. this has not been a bad, like, it might be a bad year for the industry, like industry wise,
Sure.
and that's probably undisputed, and that's another conversation entirely.
Sure.
In terms of games that have released this year, this is one of the best I can think of.
Yeah. It's important to point that out. Is like the industry may be in trouble. There may be secular things going on that totally suck. Layoffs, consolidation, Xbox raising Game Pass prices for the second time in a year, console prices going up, the trade war. All these things are horrible. But the video games that have released this year have been excellent. And the Shacknews Awards, we try to celebrate the hard work of those developers and publishers, and artists that make them, and musicians that make music for them, and all those things. So we're looking forward to the end of the year, and I am terrified.
Games that don't have release dates yet that are still supposed to come out this year. Like Power Wash Simulator 2 is supposed to come out this year. Marvel Cosmic Invasion is supposed to come out this year. Like there's still more to come.
That's right, TJ. You got to play Power Wash Sim 2 also at TGS.
I did. It was very fun.
God,
I didn't get to play it on Switch too, so that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah, for sure. But I know it is coming out to Switch too, and I love the first one. It's such a silly premise, but excellent video game and perfectly executed.
I do want to drop this because it was like I was so happy to hear it. Co-op progression, equal progression is coming in Power Wash Sim 2, where both players will get the same amount of career progression in every job. And that was missing from the first game, and so nice to have in the second.
Yeah, that's dope. We'll move on from here, but like they did a 6-player speed run at one of the GDQs in Power Wash, and it was exhilarating. Like, you're just watching them, like the tactical nature of 6 people just trying to speed run through that game. That'd be cool. Like we could maybe do a stream where we're all progressing together. That'd be fun.
Even just a little addition of couch co-op is such a big thing for this game.
Yeah. I'm happy to hear that the first one was successful. They had all sorts of crazy collabs with all those DLCs that it just was exciting. Like that game, it's such a mundane idea, but everything they did was great. Happy to hear that it is cool and good.
Power washing Bikini Bottom and SpongeBob SquarePants' house sounds like the ramblings of a madman.
Yeah, it does. Especially because it's underwater. How do you watch something that's underwater? That's a whole other discussion. These are the deep thoughts that I come up with. Speaking of deep and awesome, Ozzy. He went back to hell, or Hades, that is. Maybe it was review hell, at least at one point. Hades 2, Ozzy. How long have you been here? You've been here longer than anyone.
I've been here for 15 years.
You had a summer vacation at Yahoo or something, but you've been here for longer than almost anyone. You've never given a 10 on a game ever, right?
I've never given a 10 on a game, and I was actually the one that kept saying I championed more than anything. If it's a 10, it better be worth a 10.
Yeah.
And I've been silently side-eyeing everything that's gotten a 10. I'm like, is this really a 10? Hades 2 is a 10 to me. And I want to preface this by saying I love the hell out of the original game. Mm-hmm. And I didn't originally start out on the original game. It took Hades coming to Switch for me to give it a real chance. And once I did, and once the pandemic came down, the game I spent the most time with was Hades. And it was just it turned me on to that whole genre of roguelike action games. And the fact that Hades 2 starts out with more of that, it starts out with more of that. But it doesn't end there. It expands on everything in so many ways, from the way it tells the story to where it puts you, to the way that you go from chamber to chamber, from the boss fights and the way they gradually get more and more difficult and more epic in scale. I mentioned this in the review. You eventually unlock a second run. You start out for the original run to the underworld, which plays out a lot like the first game, but then you find out over the course of the story, you have to make a second run along the surface. And this run on the surface is way harder. The bosses are a lot more difficult to the point that I'm still trying to figure some of them out. And I'm not going to spoil who the last boss is, but it is so epic in scale. He doesn't have a health bar. You don't know how strong he is. And the gods have to come and help you. And you still get your ass kicked. Like, it's so amazing the way they build up to that climax. The pacing in this story is just so incredible in the way that they tell the overarching narrative and the way they progress every character you meet. And it's marvelous to witness. I absolutely love it. Gameplay wise, it's also a lot more like the first game, but they add little things that kind of make it feel a little more fluid. The magic meter, you can hold down the button and like unleash Omega attacks that use up your magic meter, because Melinda is a witch, so she dabbles in magic. And the way that you not only like unleash stronger attacks with the magic meter, but the way that your magic meter can influence some of your other attacks or some of your stats, like the way they implement all that is really cool. And it all feeds into all your runs feeling different every time you go, just like the first game. And yeah, I loved the hell out of this, and I'm still playing it. I'm about 30 to 40 hours in. I'm still finding new stuff, and I did hit a point where I was just like, you know what? If I wait to unlock every single little thing, I'm never going to write this. So I just said, you know what? I've seen enough. I'm good. And I can't go on enough about how much I love this game.
So it's a 10 out of 10.
It is absolutely a 10 out of 10 to me. Like, I'm going to be playing this game for a long time to come. It feels really good on Switch too, and I play most of it on TV mode. 120 FPS on TV mode just looks absolutely gorgeous. Now, the only downside is that, and I didn't mention this in the review, is I attempted to try and take the virtual game card over to the original Switch, and it basically said, you're going to lose some features. And that's kind of to be expected.
Yeah.
I didn't want to take a chance on losing my save, though, so I just kept it on the Switch, too, and just took that with me to MagicCon. Yeah. Now, you can take your save with you to PC, and it's seamless. I was able to buy my copy on Steam, and I was able to take the save over, get some capture, and like all that stuff. Like, it's a total seamless thing, and it's a cloud save, basically. So, like, if you're synced up to the cloud, like, you can jump back and forth on whatever platform you want. It's really easy.
That's cool, because it's like, that's not, oh, I can play on Steam and Deck. This is, I can play on Steam and Switch 2, and then Switch 2, and then back to Steam. Like, that's awesome. Does that work with the other consoles as well?
Well, it is right now. It's just PC and Steam.
Oh, that's right. It's only on Switch 2.
It's a Switch exclusive. That's
right.
Part of why I wanted to come on and talk about it.
That's right. It's only on Switch 2 and Switch 1.
It will come. It will probably come to Xbox and PS5 down the road, but
sure.
like that's probably now.
Yeah, I forgot. This was one of the big indie games at the April 2nd event, that hands-on event.
As soon as I saw that, I said, I want this.
Yeah.
And I actually initially thought that they were releasing it like then and there. I thought it was going to come out in early access, and it's like, no, we're releasing when it goes 1.0.
Yeah.
And ever since I learned that, I was like, okay, I'm marking down the days until this hits 1.0. As every early access update went out, and they said, okay, this is our last early access update. The next one's 1.0. I go, okay, they're going to say something at the next Nintendo Direct.
This was sure enough. Yeah, you predicted that. You were like, they're going to announce Hades 1.0 at this Direct, and Ozzy called a shot.
And they were going to do the Silksong model, where they basically said, it's ready. Here it is in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it was like more like 1 week. So
talk about a clash of the indie titans, man. Silksong versus Hades 2 for Indie Game of the Year, and also just for Game of the Year.
Just for Game of the Year in general.
Yeah, like,
and I will remind you guys, like, that I love the original Hollow Knight, but I still couldn't end up at a 10 at the end of that, just because of a handful of things that, like, I can't say a game is perfect if it's not perfect.
Mm-hmm. There's a larger conversation to be had about what a 10 actually means. But yeah, like, I think with the benefit of time, you can look back at some games, Ozzy, and I think Tetris Effect.
But Tetris Effect added stuff after the fact.
Yeah,
like,
that's the problem.
Reviewing 1.0.
But they literally went down my cons list, and they addressed every single one of them with their updates. And I'm like, God damn it, I could have given this game a 10 if you just put these things in it from the jump. But like they didn't, so I had to give it a 9.
I only have 2 real cons that I cited for the Hades 2 review, and that's one is Milena Way, and there's no fixing her. She's simply not the same like ball of charisma that her brother was, and that makes sense. But that makes sense though, because since she was a baby, she's been raised with one goal in mind, and that was to defeat Kronos. So that's been her entire life, her entire upbringing. She's not going to be like the charmer that Zagreus is.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. And yeah, it doesn't play out like the way you might want, but like, it's, I understand. It's a con that I understand. And the other con is like, you have to come up with a lot of ingredients because you're using a cauldron. Again, she's a witch. So the cauldron in the hub world, you use to unlock like different spells. You can unlock a merchant in the hub world. You can unlock gardening plots to grow crops. You can unlock stuff during your runs, and you can unlock animal familiars. That's one of my favorite ones. Ooh. You can unlock animal familiars and like get them to join you on your quest, and they can help you out with certain things. I've got Tula nominated right now for best pet, and she's a cat that you find along the surface run. And once you make friends with the cat, and she comes and joins you in the hub world, you can take her with you. If you dash into her, she'll attack enemies around you. And if you're fishing, it's an automatic win. The cat will catch a fish automatically.
Awesome. Best pet. That's a... Yeah. I guess Pauline doesn't count, huh? For DK.
No, but I have Pauline down for best NPC. If that helps.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good NPCs in Donkey Kong Bonanza, man.
That's true.
I think the
I love the what are they called? You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, those the blue guy, the rock people, the Fractones.
Yes. The Fractones, yes. I love the Fractones.
I also like the Elephant Elder. I think the Elephant Elders warm my heart.
I like the elders in general. The elders in general are really friendly.
The whole concept of like going into retirement and becoming a DJ speaks to me. So, I appreciate all the elders in Donkey Kong Bonanza. But that's what I'm getting at. Like, this is going to be such a stacked Game of the Year season. Because, like you're saying, Ozzy, this is a masterpiece in Hades 2. The other thing that you're kind of glazing over, but I think it's just because people understand it from the first game, it is a visually impressive game. The art direction,
absolutely, and you don't necessarily need the 120 frames per second that Switch 2 offers to grasp that. But yeah, this is a gorgeous looking game, and just the art and the way that they draw all the characters, all the gods, and everything, just beautifully pleasing to the eye.
Yeah,
and
stylistic is all hell, man. Like that game. There's like certain games where you can just see a single screen of it and you're like, oh yeah, that's Persona 5. Or oh yeah, that's Hades. Like there's some games where it's just instantly, Or, like even the Breath of the Wild or Tears, like they have a defined art style. But yeah, I absolutely love the art in both the Hades games.
And I will say one more thing about the story is that if you have not played the first game, you can get into this story just fine, and like you'll get enthralled by it. You'll be really interested in what happens to everybody and all that. If you play the first one, you go in with questions. You go in with like, wait, where is everybody? Where is Zagreus? Where is Hades? Like, why is Hypnos asleep? Like, you come in wanting to know these answers, and they don't give them to you for a long time. They give you the slow drip for every single run, and this is an instance where I like the slow drip. I like that it keeps giving you that incentive to keep playing and to keep learning a little more each time. And that's the thing that this game does better than anything. And to give it like kind of a comparison, I reviewed the Rogue Prince of Persia earlier this year. I like that game a lot. I think I gave it an 8, but because like it does unique things like with this formula, but it can't match it in terms of like masterful storytelling, in terms of like incentive to keep playing, in terms of like different things that can happen to you on every run. The Rogue Prince of Persia is really good, but it gets repetitive as hell. Hades 2 does not feel that way. Hades 2, I feel like it feels fresh every time you go. And even if you do start to kind of feel like you've kind of hit a little bit of a wall, you can try the other run, and the other run will feel different. So yeah, just the way they structure this is just incredible.
Another Motion Twin game I want to bring up here, Ozzy, just for comparison's sake. How did you feel about Dead Cells? Like when that dropped?
Oh no, I'm about to show my ass here, but I have not played Dead Cells.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
For shame!
Well,
if I had my gavel, I would be hitting it on the table right now. It's a great game. It's just, it doesn't, I think the Rogue Prince of
I actually
Persia.
tell people this a lot, but like around the time that Dead Cells came out, that was when Ori came out, and I was playing Ori.
I know it was. Someone else reviewed it for Shack at the time too, and I wanted to bring it up because that was a game where the reviewer was like, "Hey, I kind of want to give this a 10," and there was like Shacknews court was held, and the plaintiff and the defendant, they took the stand and ultimately got a 9 out of 10. But I think Dead Cells is right up there when it comes to this genre.
Cells did a great job with the Rogue Prince of Persia.
Yeah,
because it's the same team.
But I think Dead Cells is still kind of more special to me than the Rogue Prince of Persia, because it was like lightning in a bottle kind of moment for that studio, Motion Twin. Donovan, where the hell did you get that Zelda shirt? I just noticed it.
I bought this a few years ago, before Tears of the Kingdom came out. It might have been like at Target or something, or maybe like one of those like web T-shirt stores.
Wow.
I remember seeing it somewhere like cheap. It was like $15, and I was like, I'll buy that.
Wow.
And I've kind of ruined it by not washing my clothes properly, but
yeah,
it's got that. It kind of works because the logo has that like aged.
Yeah, sure.
That aged look to it. So
sorry.
We have laundry tips in the comments if you guys want to like give us some comments on how to do our laundry better.
Yeah. Tumble dry, machine wash on the low. Yeah. Fabric
I've also learned you're supposed to
softener.
put them like inside out when you've got like graphics and stuff printed on. I wasn't doing that at the time, so yeah. No. Lessons learned.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I'm jealous. Ozzy, what else? What else do you want to tell the folks at home about Hades 2? What would you rather play it on, PC or Switch 2?
I would rather play it on Switch 2 just because of how gorgeous it looks at 120 FPS. Also, I got to talk about the hub world and like the way you're able to slowly upgrade it over time using the cauldron. Like you unlock hangout places to basically test out the relationship system, which at first I thought, okay, this feels a little tacked on. But like the more you go and the more you understand like how it works in terms of like, oh, this person wants this person wants this. Like, okay. And then like you keep seeing those hearts go up. And it's like, okay, I really wanted to do something with Malinois's roommate because Dora is adorable. Like she's basically a ghost who's like keeps trying to like scare Malinois every time she comes home, but like she doesn't remember her past. She doesn't like to go out. Like she's just like, I'm happy living existence in my room, and she starts to grow on you more and more after a while. So like as you unlock the hangout places, you're like, just come hang out over here. Like you go to the hot springs, you go to the fishing hole, like you unlock that kind of stuff. And it's like, okay, that gives the story and the character relationships an extra depth that wasn't there in the first game. And I absolutely loved the way they implemented that.
Nice.
I've seen a few people online describe Hades 2 as a dating sim with roguelite elements. And my response to that is, a true sequel to the first game.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, how many waifus and husbandos were born out of this franchise in the first game? So, yeah.
And some of these relationships are complicated. Like, I was briefly talking about Eris over the weekend, and I thought about writing a feature on her because she's very hateable to me personally, because she's the kind of person that, like, you don't know whose side she's on. She comes and hangs out in the hub world like she owns the place because she knows that like there is a spell in place where like the children of Nyx can't be kicked out. So it's her loophole to like just basically come and dick around whenever she wants. She throws trash around. She makes a pig out of herself. Minor spoiler, she ends up being one of the bosses. And like, it feels like she's actively trying to work for Kronos, but you can't necessarily prove it. And the worst thing about her is, she's not doing this out of like any malice. She's doing it because she's bored. She's doing it for fun. And it's like, if you're not going to help, don't get in the way. And she's just like, make me. So she's that kind of person. And like, I personally hate that kind of character in a good way. But like the reason that I ultimately haven't ended up writing anything yet is because her story is still unfolding, and I feel like there's something I don't know yet.
Wow.
So like that's the kind of like nugget that they use to like keep bringing you back, so that you can learn more about this stuff. So like you think you know everything, but do you really? I bet you don't.
Interesting.
And that's the kind of thing that keeps you bringing back to this game.
You know, I heard from Sam Chandler that this game was hard. How would you describe the difficulty in Hades 2? Is it harder than the first game?
It starts hard because, like the first game, when you're getting your ass kicked, it's all a matter of, okay, I got to recognize the patterns.
Yeah.
Everyone has a pattern. And once you grasp the pattern, and once you upgrade yourself enough, because there are ways to upgrade the nocturnal arms, you get an arcana system also, which lets you upgrade your base stats or lets you give you like bonuses like Death Defiance and all that. You have to use that to get really far into these runs.
Okay.
But the bosses are all beatable. Like, I know what Sam's talking about because Skill and the Sirens, which by the way, one of the best bosses I've ever seen in a game, because it's basically the sirens from Greek myth, but they're a girl punk band. So it's a way to implement the soundtrack into a boss battle, and I think that's awesome.
Hell yeah.
But like the sirens are also really hard if you don't know what you're doing. And like I've actually gone into one of the siren fights, like kind of like just like dicking around and everything, letting my guard down, and I got my ass kicked. I was like, oh, I was not paying attention. Holy crap. But yeah, the boss fights can be really hard. The boss fights don't get really, but I think it's the surface level boss runs that are really going to give Sam a run for his money, because those aren't just hard; they can be unfair. Like the third boss on the surface run, I have not figured it out yet. I was like, what am I doing wrong here that I keep getting hit and I keep losing Death Defiances? And of course, that last one, man, that's going to take me a while because it is brutal. And it's not just brutal, but like he calls down like every boss will call down like minor enemies to fight you. Sure. This guy calls down boss level minions to help him. And it's like, oh God, like it's so tough. But like the first game, if you give it enough time and if you start to recognize the patterns, it's doable.
Interesting. The thing that I noticed you keep bringing up is 120 FPS on a Switch 2. There's something magical about that, man. Like, actually getting better than 60 FPS performance out of that device. And, like, the way I've experienced it, Ozzy, was in the Metroid Prime 4 Beyond demo at the April event. And they had me play it in mouse mode, right? So I was Al Bundying it with the Joy-Con. But, yeah, there is something... Like, I would rather play at 1080p, 120 FPS, than 4K 60 in almost every case when it comes to Nintendo Switch 2. And I think it's great. Most of us have TVs that support 120 hertz, so it's not like that crazy. And I know that, like, if you can get your GPU to a certain level on PC, you're probably going to experience the same thing. But Nintendo, in this year, with everything going on economically and the price of components and all this, to have games that are running at 120 FPS is, I think it's like it's a different time for Nintendo. Where, like, depending on the studio, some of these studios are cranking out like a lot from what is still not the top of the line processor, not the top of the line storage, not the top of the line RAM. I think it's cool that we're seeing games that are running extremely well. TJ mentioned it last week on the show, where Hollow Knight Silksong is actually performing better on Switch 2 than PS5 in his playthroughs. So it's an interesting time for Nintendo to actually be mentioned as high performance. Which is,
I think it's interesting that indies are getting more out of this than big major third parties.
Yeah, I think their games are probably more scalable, and some of these engines are not working well on the Switch 2, like, at all. And this is where I bring up Call of Duty not being on Switch yet. What the hell's going on there? Anyway. Awesome, man. I'm happy you finally have your line in the sand. The Aussie 10 out of 10 is Hades 2. I know you've been close. I know it, because you've reviewed some banger games over the last few years. And,
I really have.
And like, this is the one. I knew it when you were like, hey, I need a little bit more time with this. We didn't get it out at embargo because we wanted to give the game the proper time. You know, this is where I mentioned I still haven't reviewed Mario Kart World. I'll get to that one of these days. But yeah, by the way, it's complete tangent. That patch, that Mario Kart World patch is real, guys. Like, we're gonna have to play this game soon, because it's actually made the game better.
All right.
Yeah, I know. I don't know when, but like some Friday down the road, we're all gonna have to get together and play Kart World. Although Donovan and I are playing Fortnite this Friday. I don't know.
Now if they can get the performance patch for Bonanza, who might be in business.
I'm not holding my breath on that one, Ozzy. Boy, am I not holding my breath on that. I would die.
They made their stance pretty clear on that one.
They're like, it's fine. You're wrong. I'm like, no, I'm right. This is not fine. Anyway, by the way, Mario Galaxy 2 and Mario Galaxy 1 are running buttery smooth to use.
I'm getting mine tomorrow.
Yeah, excited to play those games. I still need to play Hades. I still have to play Silksong. I am a bad games media member right now. But I played Doom. I got to do PC. I even played Fortnite. I covered Fortnite, Donovan. What the hell? Me covering Fortnite.
Rightfully so.
We couldn't get anyone else to agree to be on the stream, Donovan. So right now it's just me and you playing Robot Rock.
That's okay. We'll jump in. I'm gonna have my K-pop Demon Hunter skin because that'll be out by the time we stream.
Barf.
We'll be having a great time. Be nice to K-pop Demon Hunter. It's a great movie.
I will join you guys with my Blanca skin.
I'm glad you enjoyed the Daft Punk concert, also.
It was great. It's great. It wasn't the Daft Punk concert that I liked, honestly. That was fine. But the intro to the Daft Punk experience is like spiritual. Like it's honestly a really, really cool thing. And then yeah, like Robot Rock Arena is like truly fun. There's also the Daft Punk club. We didn't mention it last episode, Donovan, but like you walk in there and it's like the Around the World video is going on. So it's like the fan service is real there. I was never hating on this because I'm not a fan of Daft Punk. It's more just I'm sad that we're not getting more Daft Punk. It just reminded me that they're done. Like, it's over. And boy, has my YouTube algorithm been reminding me about that. Do you remember that one video with the girl who wrote Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger on her fingers? No? It was super viral like 17 years ago, which is ridiculous. But like, YouTube just recommended that to me this morning because it's like, oh, Asa's back on the Daft Punk tip, which I am. I put on a live 2007 TJ and just listened to the whole thing while I was doing chores over the weekend. So yeah, it's a good time for everyone to go back and listen to some Daft Punk music. Before we move on to your other hands-on, TJ, I just want to mention we actually got some Nintendo news. That Nintendo corporate Twitter account, guys, I recommend following it and turning on the bell because they only post bangers and news about Fire Emblem Shadows. But it's so weird, man. But they announced that Nintendo Singapore, which is like Nintendo of America but for Southeast Asia. So they are targeting Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Vietnam, where all of our Switch 2s were built in Vietnam because of the tariff situation. So Nintendo investing and growing in Southeast Asia, I think, is a great thing. But yeah, new division there at the Big N. Not a whole lot to talk about there, but like, that's just kind of interesting. They're expanding, they're doing things. But yeah, we got to talk about this, TJ. You got to play Resident Evil Requiem. RE9, as I call it, because I am old and I just like calling things RE followed by a number. You played it on the Nintendo Switch 2, but you played it in handheld on the Nintendo Switch.
Handheld. Yes.
And it's good?
The most important distinction that can be made about that. We played that game in handheld, and if there was a seam or a crack in that demo, I didn't see it during my time with it. I was floored. So, as far as I know, this demo is content that people have seen before. You wake up as as Grace Ashcroft in a mysterious building on a medical bed full of tubes, and she yanks them out very disgustingly and gets to work. Um, the demo ran for about 15 minutes timed, in which I was able to explore kind of this dark, dilapidated area, just barely the area around me. I found bottles that I could use for a distraction against something I didn't know was coming yet, and then I started finding corpses that were disgusting, very disgusting. I played the game in first person mode, and when I was looking over a corpse and investigating for an item, a big old hand just grabbed that corpse right in front of me and munched on it, and the big bad shows up and starts chasing me.
And he's fast for like a big dude.
Oh god, he's so scary. And mind you, I couldn't listen, so I didn't get to we had the headphones mic'd up. So I'm playing like deaf on this demo. But every time I turned around and that thing was right in front of me, I screamed and ran for my life. But all of that to say, all of this was playing on handheld. I was holding it on. You can see the video. I'm holding it in my hands, playing this demo and doing commentary over it. And there isn't like even a moment of hitch in that. The only thing that I could point out that actually was like a slight blemish against the PC and other console versions is that the hair tech isn't as good. But that's like the smallest caveat to something that is otherwise was otherwise a perfect demo.
It's really interesting that you bring that up, because if anyone remembers my Switch 2 April event experience with Cyberpunk, that was the only negative I had with Cyberpunk, was the hair looked really weird. They fixed it by the time they shipped the game. So in the case of RE9, like, you were playing a vertical slice, obviously. That's a demo that they built for the Switch 2 for TGS, and maybe some other events too. But like, they have time to at least massage it and get it to a better place. And maybe that's how this version of DLSS handles hair, is kind of off. But that's funny that you bring that up, because that was the only negative I had to say about my preview with Cyberpunk at the time. So I'm like, maybe they'll figure that out before now and then. It's also interesting that, like, we're not just getting Requiem next year. We're getting 8, and we're getting Village, and we're getting 7, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why won't they give us RE4 Remake?
It's only for the future. That'll be the next announcement.
What about RE2 Remake?
Oh man, that would be great.
What about RE3 Remake?
I bet they all happen.
I just want them all. I'm that girl Violet and Willy Wonka. I just want everything. But like, it's
important to know that these are not cloud versions.
No.
Yeah.
No, these are running on the system extremely well. Clearly the RE engine, like, here's why I'm not surprised, TJ. And it will sound kind of dumb at first, but Street Fighter 6 runs extremely well on Nintendo Switch 2, and that's the same engine. People don't realize it, but that's the same engine that these RE games run on. And obviously there's netcode involved. There's all sorts of other things that they had to thread the needle on to get SF6 running well on the Switch 2. But that was like a launch. Was that a launch or launch window game? It was launch.
Day one.
Yeah, that's a launch game on Switch 2 that actually was a showcase, right? Like, FGC players were like, this is exactly like the other platforms. In some ways it ran better, right? So I'm not surprised to hear this, that even in handheld, RE9 is running well. That's just like, it's highlights this thing that Donovan and I have been talking about in like almost every episode, this variety of performance of games from first party and third party games. Like, it's kind of all over the place right now, and I think it depends on the engine. It depends on the optimization of the games. But Capcom's on fire right now with what they're bringing to the Switch 2. Like, really some impressive stuff.
I think a big part of that is that we know Capcom was one of the primary partners during the Switch 2's
The chosen
rollout,
ones,
right? Yeah, they were literally one of the chosen ones. So we know they had a dev kit. They had them earlier than probably most studios. So yeah, I think we're seeing that trend where the companies that Nintendo did handpick, the small handful, to go hands-on with Switch 2 hardware early, made the most of it, and I think we're seeing that now.
Yeah, with CD Projekt,
and,
Capcom, obviously Supermassive, right? Like there's these. I think didn't Team Cherry have a dev kit also because I think that was announced at
Hollow Knight was
yeah. So like these studios that had the dev kits early, Square, they seem to have an advantage right now, which is kind of shitty. But at the same time, like it's exciting because like there's this whole push and pull right now, and we have the ROG Xbox Ally X coming, right? And even though some guy in France already got it delivered 3 weeks early, whatever. Outside of that, like this whole thing is the Xbox One is going to be more powerful, right, than the Switch. But it's like that Tony Stark in a cave with a box of spare parts is able to get Hades 2 running at 120 FPS, is able to get RE9 running like at 60 FPS in handheld and looking great while doing it. I saw that one of the directors of I think it was RE9 or 8 or whatever, he said that he noticed that more Westerners were playing in first person, and the Japanese media who were hands-on with it, or the Japanese attendees at TGS, were playing it in third person. I'm a scaredy cat. I need to play it in third person. I don't want it. It sounds terrifying. That's why I'm asking for... That's why, once again, I'm asking for RE4 Remake to come to the Nintendo Switch 2. By the way, our first 10 out of 10 here at Shacknews, I believe TJ was the one that reviewed it. So it would be nice to get a 10 out of 10 RE4 on the Nintendo Switch 2. But beggars can't be choosers. I will play RE9 and poop my pants. And are there bear traps for me to step on in this game? Or
I did not run into any bear traps yet.
Okay. Well, that's good news. But, if there are, I'll find them.
I did seem to notice that the creature is still moving around you while you're accessing your inventory and searching for keys.
Oh, that's
fun.
Yeah, I found that out the hard way.
Awesome. So yeah, anything else that stuck out about RE9 to you while you were playing on Switch 2?
Just the sheer crispness of the whole thing. Like I every time I've walked into a higher and higher profile Switch 2 thing, I've been consistently impressed, and like my doubts have been crushed within moments of starting up. I go into these like looking for problems because I want to be certain that like this is the real deal. And I couldn't find too many problems in this demo so far.
It's fair, TJ, because there's so many smoke and mirrors in these preview events, right? Like sometimes you're playing a build that's not going to be like the final version of the game. Maybe there's something that they did, but like you can't hide the fact that this was running in handheld on a Switch 2, right?
That was bold. That was bold to set it up where there's just no TV screen there. Sit down, pick up the device, and start playing.
Because we all know Elden Ring Tarnished Edition is like in awful shape, and no one has footage of it running in handheld, I don't think. So it's a wide gamut of performance on the Switch 2 right now. But and I think RE9, that's coming out day and date with everyone else, right? This is a simultaneous ship.
Yes.
That we're getting that this generation, I think, is awesome. Like we got that with Madden, we got that with FC, we got that with 2K26 and NBA. We did get WWE a little bit later, but that we're getting a lot of these third-party titles day and date as the other console makers and on PC, I think is a big deal for players on the Nintendo Switch too. I think it's going to be really important.
I have to imagine that all of this is leading up towards like that fated return of mainline Monster Hunter to Nintendo. Because you have to remember, Monster Hunter was huge on Nintendo platforms for a while. Wii U
carried the Wii U,
Nintendo DS
carried the Wii U with Ultimate Monster Hunter 3. I have like 200 hours in that game. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The Monster Hunter Stories games look really good. on the Switch 2 right now. Those are coming out, I think, day and date. I saw that the Monster Hunter Stories games are also coming to the Xbox platform. So people want to catch up, they'll be able to play them there. But yeah, like Nintendo and Capcom have never had a terrible relationship, but they have been like selective with what games came over. And in the Monster Hunter franchise, it was like sorry, it's escaping me. What was the
You got Stories.
No, but we also had that
Monster Hunter
Rise.
Generations Ultimate.
Rise.
Rise.
I was
on the
thinking of
Switch.
Rise, because like we had Monster Hunter World, right? And that was on PS, and then it came to PC, and it's on Xbox or whatever. But we never got Monster Hunter World. We got Rise, right? And then like Wilds comes out, and the Switch 2 doesn't get Wilds yet. So maybe.
I think they're building the road towards it. I think they are.
Because the fans are there, man. Like, the fans are going to move wherever Monster Hunter is, but it is, like, kind of at home on Nintendo platforms. And that would be magical to have, like, a mainline Monster Hunter game in handheld on a Switch 2 would be awesome. Because that thing, man, it's one of those games that, like, my old computer chugged so hard trying to play that game earlier this year. It was super deflating. And now I have this brand new PC and no one wants to play Monster Hunter anymore.
Dude, all you gotta do is call me up and you have my Gunblade.
Okay, well, there's the one person. So I have one person to play Fortnite with and I have one person to play Monster Hunter with. But like, you know, like Bill Lavoie, I think he reviewed it, or he was one of the people playing it during the review period. Once he was done, he's like, I'm done. I'm like, wow, okay. So, like, I sat out of the Monster Hunter World era because I was like, I'm still kind of burnt out from Ultimate Monster Hunter 3. And then everyone loved Monster Hunter World. And by the time I'm ready to play no, everyone's like, you know what? No. But I agree. I hope this is, like, the beginning of a thawing of that relationship between the Monster Hunter games and Nintendo platforms. But, yeah, it's definitely a great sign, man, that RE9 Requiem is running so well already in a demo state. Also, it's Biohazard in Japan, right, TJ? How was that? How was the Biohazard booth?
It was great. Like, their whole setup was very cool.
Yeah.
They built it kind of like they've done one in the past, where they build like like the city environment that the game is based on. You know, like when they did Resident Evil 2 remake, they built like a crumbling RPD into their booth.
And we had we had that at E3, but they also had like a bigger version of that in Japan. The TGS is really fucking big, right?
Oh yeah.
Like, this is now the biggest conference of the year. I think it's the biggest convention of the year. It was something like 4,000 booths were at TGS this year. So, you know, E3's dead.
Something like 275,000 attendance this year. And we talked to a lot of developers from like Korea and China and Japan and even European countries. And almost everybody agreed that like last year was like Japan was opening up the door and letting people in from the cold. This year, everybody knew about the party and showed up.
Yeah. And
Do you remember, Asif, right before the Death Stranding, that we kind of thought this show is dead? Like, it's on its last legs. It wasn't what it used to be. Like, nobody's going anymore. And now it's completely done a 180. It's reinvented itself.
Absolutely. And I think there's a sense of patriotism in Japan right now that didn't exist before Trump became president again. This tariff war has deeply offended the Japanese people because they are one of our greatest allies. Why would you do this to us? So you see, like, Nintendo won an award at TGS for the Switch 2, right? This, like, hardware award at the TGS Awards. And, like, every Japanese company showed up. Ozzy, to your point, you had Arc there, you had Capcom there, Koei Tecmo probably had their largest presence in years. Sony's obviously there. Nintendo does not fuck around with TGS.
Even Xbox, who doesn't sell anything in Japan, they at least tried.
No. How dare you? How dare you, Ozzy? Sarah Bond told us it's their fastest growing geography. It's Southeast Asia. And she said, Konnichiwa, very slowly. But yeah, it's... Yes. Every company showed up. And even like though Nintendo and TGS have their own beef, they still were present. Their system was on the floor, right?
Yes. And Greg, I will say, Greg held a ROG Ally in his hands and went to shake mine, and I was just like,
It wasn't the X. It was just the regular ROG Ally Xbox or ROG Xbox Ally. Yeah, that thing has a price.
yeah, it sure does.
So yeah, and it's already apparently leaking in French retailers. So if you're in France, you might get a delivery earlier than you thought. I know that we have other people who I'm not going to mention because they may be under embargo or whatever, but we have other people who might try out that system before it launches. But happy to hear they have a price at least. I was there, man. I watched the Xbox event, Ozzy. It was interesting. I'll say that much. It was an interesting 6 a.m. direct from Xbox.
They've been doing this for a couple of years now, and they've all been nothing burgers. But at least this year, that Forza Horizon announcement was at least something to buzz about.
That's cool that it's coming to Japan, for sure.
That is very dope. I like Forza Horizon more than I like the mainline series at this point. So
That's another game I would like to see come to Switch at some point.
Yeah, game that should be on Switch. What's going on, Microsoft? I know you gave Forza to PlayStation.
We're getting Indiana Jones on Switch too.
mm-hmm.
Okay, wait, Forza's on PlayStation. Call of Duty's on PlayStation. They have a 10-year agreement. Damn it! It's almost been 4 years. What is going on?
Still waiting on that Call of Duty.
There's some beef. There's got to be beef. There's definitely beef. And it's not just Nintendo. I don't think it might be Nintendo not even thinking about it, but Microsoft thinks that they can like win by like holding their platform like on this new handheld. Like, you don't need to put our games on Switch 2. We're going to release them out here in this $1,000 device or $600 device, depending on which one you get. Anyway, I'm going to keep yelling about Call of Duty not being on Switch 2. And then whenever it does come out, I'm not going to buy it because I don't really like Call of Duty. But when you have a 10-year agreement, you should, and you're 4 years in, what the fuck? What is going on? And also,
Yeah.
Doom should be on Switch 2. Doom the Dark Ages should be on Switch 2 by now. It's kind of weird that it's not. So that's like a Game of the Year candidate that isn't on Switch 2 that I finally got back to playing now that I have this awesome PC. But then Fortnite came out and with this new Daft Punk thing, and now I'm a Fortnite player in the year of our Lord 2025, however the hell that happened. But yeah. Anything else that we should hit before we go? I feel like this is a good breaking off point. You know, we've been doing this for about an hour. We already had, the folks at home already had an hour and a half of Donovan and me and David talking about Mario. And I really did like your point, though, that the debate that we're having about what's the greatest Nintendo console of all time. Donovan brought up on the last episode that the DS might actually be the GOAT. And I think it's an interesting debate to have.
So, strong case. Got a real
That-
strong case.
That era of Nintendo devices still has a massive presence in Japan, to the point where you could take a DS over there right now
And Street Pass.
and probably get about 60 street passes out of a day.
Absolutely. Because it was a pocketable Nintendo device, and there isn't one anymore. So
Yeah.
I think there's something about that for sure. It may not be my favorite industrial design, Donovan, but like I think there's a valid point to be made that it is the GOAT. But the Switch 1 might also have a case to be made, just when you look at the software lineup of the Switch 1 over the long arc of time. But that's a debate for another time. Let us know what you think in the comments section, right? What do you think's the greatest Nintendo console of all time? Maybe it's going to be the Switch 2. I doubt it, but maybe. We'll see. If it keeps putting out awesome games like Hades 2 that Ozzy's giving 10 out of 10 to, you know, could be. But yeah, well, I guess that'll wrap it up. 91 days, Doug. That's how many days you have left to keep to listen to our demands. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, and you know what? I'm also going to ask for Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment soundtrack. All of them on Nintendo Music before you retire. You have 91 days, Doug. You can do this. I believe in you. And congratulations on the money hat from being a former EA employee. I hope he didn't sell his shares. But yeah, I have a feeling he didn't if he's retiring. But yeah, that'll do it. Like, follow, and subscribe us, on the YouTube. We're also doing this as an audio podcast, so I feel like I should ask them. Isn't this the thing, Donovan? Like, ask them to rate our podcast because it
5 stars.
5 stars. It helps with the algorithm over there. We're on all sorts of podcast platforms I didn't even know existed. But yeah, so shout out to the audio podcast listeners, and also everyone who watched last episode, the episode before that too. We had a pretty big Pokemon preview last week from Donovan there. That's coming out soon, dude.
God, I can't wait. I'm so excited.
I'm
2
excited.
weeks.
I haven't been excited about a Pokemon game since, I don't know, Snap? For the new one? I know. And that was, was that
just to kind of bring it all full circle, we got a lot of games that are coming out in a few weeks.
Yeah, we sure do. This is the busiest time of the year for us. But we wanted to give Ozzy a chance to talk about Hades 2. Big deal. First 10 from Ozzy here at Shacknews. Wanted to hear more about TJ's adventures with Greg in Japan. And also just hear more about RE9 running flawlessly in handheld. That's just crazy. I think the problem we're going to run into is the battery is kind of ass. So we'll see. But they have 2 USB ports now. You just get a power bank and plug in on the top or something. I don't know.
If you saw in the video, that's exactly what's going on when I'm playing. There's a cord in the top.
Yep. Oh, I definitely saw it, and that's like when you're traveling overseas or something, like that's a long ass flight to Japan, TJ. Like, you need a power bank with you if you're going to be playing any of those. I played back before the Death Stranding when I was going to Japan. I beat Breath of the Wild on the flight back from TGS in 2017, and I had my RAV power bank installed, and I literally shouted, "Yeah!" when I did it, and everyone was asleep around me, and they were very angry. But I was very excited about defeating evil in Breath of the Wild.
That's great.
But yeah, man, you guys got me excited about these games. I need to play Hades 2. I never beat Hades 1. I am kind of trash at those games, but I love how they look. I love watching people play it. But I'm gonna give it the old college try again. I am a scaredy cat, so I'm afraid of Resident Evil. But I'm happy that it looks really good. And that game just looks fun in general, TJ. It's not just, hey, it runs well. It's like, it actually looks cool. I'm more intrigued by it than 7 or 8. But yeah, exciting times here. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.